Hi folks, Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. Just bringing a little message to you here. Kind of something that I was asked in the comments by one of my subscribers. I believe it was Rocker Chick, yeah! And I don't know her, but I thought that was kind of funny. She asked me about mimic ghosts. And I'd never heard of mimic ghosts. And it's interesting, and 36 years of work in the paranormal realm, I never heard of anything called a mimic ghost. And she said she found a lot of information online. I didn't find a lot, but I did find this this question asked by this lady. I don't know who she is. Elise LeBeau, PhD, professional intuitive. PhD, that's pretty impressive. Now, I don't know if she'll be mad at me for saying her name, but hey, she's got a website, and I'm looking at it, so I thought I would at least give her the credit where credit is due. And she's asked if anyone had ghosts mimic the voices of loved ones. And I think that this is not her saying this down here. I think it's these people up here on the side. I'm not sure, because it's kind of weird. But this is I wanted to address this because it's very interesting, and it brings up what I think, at least, are some very interesting implications and some very interesting things to consider for the new venture of going out and being very involved in spiritual evangelism. So let's take a look at what this is and what it really means, and what is a mimic ghost or a mimic spirit. Has anyone had ghosts mimic the voices of loved ones? This guy over here says, I've had a situation over about a half dozen times over the past year where I hear voices of people I know calling for me from across the house when they're not home. It always happens when I'm alone, and it's usually in the mornings as I'm shaving and getting ready for work. They are always calling me by name. Once it was my dad, most recently my wife, another time my son. Each time no one else was home. It freaks me out, as each time I immediately think that they've been in a terrible accident. And on a related note, I had a woman humming a song in my kitchen the other day, and no one was there. While sitting in my daughter's room, we both heard a voice cackling down the hallway in a creepy way, sounding like a man trying to imitate a girl laughing. I did read on a medium website that sometimes one angels will call you by name and trying to get your attention, but this voice deception doesn't seem like it's anything good would do. Interesting. I've had various spirits calling my name, etc. I haven't yet. If you haven't replied to the voices, I'd recommend answering them to find out what she. This is where I may differ from with this. If that's her picture, this attractive lady, Nocturnus Angel, kind of makes me wonder a little bit about her perspective, but she may be a very nice lady. I shouldn't say that. Here's my thoughts on answering these things. What you have to understand is, for a ghost or a spirit to be able to manifest with a physical voice, that requires a very significant amount of energetic essence. In other words, if these things are able to manifest a physical voice, that means they have some strength, and ergo, if they are able to manifest, if they're strong enough to manifest with a physical voice, an audible voice I should say, then they may be strong enough to inflict physical damage on you or harm. The thought that comes to mind is, if one's calling you near a staircase, could they push you down? Could they push you off a porch? Could they push you out a window? Could they cause something to fall on you and bring bodily harm to you? So I would feel very cautious about answering these type of spirits unless you are someone that is very well equipped to deal with spiritual intuition or with spiritual battles. Now me, this would never happen to me, but if it did, I would just start hewing it and get rid of it. I'm not going to be called like a dog by some kind of second-rate, unbalanced entity. and let it lead me around by the nose. But that's just my point of view. If you feel like playing, or if see, that's so dangerous. If you feel like playing, talk to them. Just that's my take on that. Whenever I investigate and run over to the area of the voice, it gets quiet. This is that guy, that same guy. Next time I'll call back and see what happens. Don't do it, Hop Daddy. Don't do it. Mimicking spirits can be a pain in the butt. I had one mask my voice during an EVP session, call me a biatch. My husband heard it, said, hey, there's no way that you're doing it yourself. She said, no, no, no. My son, my daughter, she says the first one was demonic and wreaked a lot of havoc. The second one felt more human, probably, and wasn't a problem child. I just felt like it was trying to get our attention. I would go with what you're feeling. If it doesn't feel good or safe, get rid of it. Now, I agree with this lady, at Angel, much more than I agree with Nocturnal Witch, or what? Oh, Nocturnal Angel. Yeah, so that's very interesting. And it creeps me out, he says, because it's only me when it happens, so they obviously want something from you. One day, this person moved into a new house, teenage daughter napping, heard me, quote unquote, talking on the phone to someone and walking past her. Then she realized I wasn't home. We never figured out who or what it was, but she's often felt a mother-type figure around her, not a nuisance and not doing bad things, but more supportive. Why she would have mimicked my voice is a mystery. Yeah, that's kind of where I am. I come down on, and a lot of people, a lot of workers in this realm disagree with me, but if there's a spirit in a place, and it's not causing any problem, it's not hurting anybody, and I've had some interaction with it, and it, says that it wants to stay there, I'm kind of disposed towards letting him stay. Now, if they're causing difficulty, and I will let them know, if you cause difficulty, we will come back and you will have to go. But I sometimes tend to think that if they're not a nuisance and you don't care and they want to stay, what's the harm? But, that's my 2 cents. Spirit trying to mimic my grandmother's voice. Kept trying to mimic her voice was something they would never do because she has an Italian accent. I told them to quit trying because it was such a bad imitation they couldn't carry it off at all. Yeah, I like that. I like that kind of an attitude right there. Oh, come on, you bunch of idiots. Again, I would probably just shoo them the heck out of there or get them rebalanced. But, because they'd probably run if they didn't. If they, some of this makes me think it's just a trickster spirit. Trickster spirits that are just messing around. But the fact that they can pull off audible voices makes me a little bit leery of what else they can pull off if we're misjudging and they're really not just being silly. Yeah. They're trying to impress you. I always congratulate them for making such a strong effort. It takes a lot of energy for them to do this. Now, I don't know why you would congratulate them. I don't know why you'd want that, because when you're doing that, you're feeding them. And I'm sure this lady knows that because she seems kind of advanced, but whenever you interact with them, you're feeding on them. And she talks about fear, trying to overcome fear, so she was just talking to them. I don't know. I mean, if you interact with them, they're certainly going to stay around. Here's my friend again. He wants to tell me something, show me something, needs my help. Again, sweetheart, that's up to you. But yeah, to me, it's problematic at best. My initial thoughts are that they're number one, they're trickster spirits just trying to mess around. Maybe they're bored. Number two, they're not. The fact that they can use that much energy to get your attention with a physical, audible voice means that they're not that weak. I would use caution. I really would. I would recommend caution. It doesn't seem to be completely nefarious, but again, I would not venture near any type of stairwells. I wouldn't venture, to the edge of the porch. I wouldn't venture, anywhere where something could be dropped on you with, with a modicum of energetic effort as well. So it just seems a little too weird to me to accept as being, you know, is trickster-ish, or just nuisance. It seems like there's more to it. Now, if you are involved, you know, here's a thought that just came to me. If we will get ourselves involved in spiritual evangelism, helping, and I just did a video on this that you can watch about helping people that are no longer in the flesh, that are in the spirit, helping them get out, helping them realize the truth and be able to move from where they are. Maybe they are trapped in that place, and maybe they are calling out to you because they want help. And that's probably what I would do. I would say, do you need help? Do you understand that you don't have to stay where you are? Would you like to leave? I can help you. And then if you don't get a indication that they really do need some help, then I would be, I'd be moving on in short order, and so would they. We'd just hew them, either rebalance them or have them leave that vicinity. And we'd probably, if one is trying to be deceptive, we're going to escort it somewhere where it needs to go. So, interesting. Yeah, maybe they're calling out for help. But one of the interesting implications of this, as we move into the idea of spiritual evangelism, is you don't want to deal with the spirit. Don't let it fake you. Don't let it con you. Don't let these spirits that have no intention of wanting to go anywhere, spirits that aren't lost, spirits that are right where they want to be, and they just play you along for the interaction so they can gain energy from you, and maybe look for ways to attach themselves to you. So I would be very careful in the spiritual evangelism scenarios. That's why it is, I think, an advanced work, because you don't want to. You got to be discerning. You got to know when to fish and when to cut bait, because the minute that you know that they're messing with you, then you've got to let them go, because you don't want them to take your time or your energy. And then that's when I would switch, you know, take off the nice guy hat and put on the, you know, the sheriff's hat, right? Because there's, you know, all of a sudden, you know, right now I'm the evangelist, I'm trying to help, but if you want to mess with me, then I can become the sheriff in a hot second. So that's the thoughts. Just keep all this in mind. Think about this. I don't know who this lady is, so it's not an endorsement or a non-endorsement. She just had some good information on the site. So thanks for sending me that question. It turned out to be an interesting little discussion, one I think can be helpful to us. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower, encouraging you to unwind your mind and unindoctrinate yourself.